Jason, I read your Twitter feed, and I'm going to let you hold forth, but let me just put out there for our viewers a statement from the president and Mrs. Obama. They put out this today. Our hearts are heavy over yet another shooting of a black man, Daunte Wright, at the hands of police. The fact that this could happen, even as the city of Minneapolis is going through the trial of Derek Chauvin and reliving the heart-wrenching murder of George Floyd, indicates not just how important it is to conduct a full and transparent investigation, but also just how badly we need to reimagine policing and public safety in this country. Jason?
I've been saying we need to abolish American policing as it currently exists. It doesn't work. And we don't seem to have this sort of difficulty when we're talking about any other government agency. So, Nicole, I teach my class of Morgan State students before this. We were having this discussion with a bunch of 19 and 20-year-olds. And I pointed out to them, I said, what's the graduation rate for high school kids in Baltimore? And the Baltimore graduation rate is only about 80%. People are always screaming, oh, my gosh, Baltimore public schools are terrible. They need to be taken over by the state. They need to be taken over by the government. Only 80% of these kids graduate. You know, the average homicides that are actually solved by police departments, only about 35%. You know the number of rapes and sexual assaults that are solved by police departments? Less than 60%. You know the percentage likelihood of being shot unarmed as a black person is like 5 times as likely than a white person. Policing doesn't work the way we're doing it right now. And if we had that level of endemic failure in any other government agency, every politician in America would say, not just reimagine, we need to tear this down to the studs and rebuild it. And anything less than that is absolute gaslighting to the tears that this woman was expressing. I am tired of people saying this is a tragedy. We've known it was a tragedy. And no one's doing anything about it. And whether it's a mass shooting in a public school or another black man or another black woman, and I promise you, Nicole, because before this trial is over, I said this when the Derek Chauvin trial began. I was like, we're going to have another shooting before this trial is over. And we have one. If the trial goes another 2 weeks, we'll have another shooting. So we need to start thinking of a different way to approach policing. And if we don't have that conversation, then no one cares about crying tears and no one cares about blood in the streets, because anything else is just window dressing.
Well, and Carmen, I think that to Jason's point, we do have the same conversation every time this kind of tragedy is caught on cell phone video and erupts into public view. And sadly, that's the variable, because I'm sure there are more incidents that simply aren't propelled to the public consciousness by video. And I guess I'm old enough to remember when one of the solutions was going to be body cam video. Well, here we are. There's body cam video and it's still happening. What is the solution?
Right. Yeah, it's really interesting because I agree that we need to start over. It's really funny that we're kind of saying the same thing in different ways. I just think that everything has to have some structure to it. I don't believe in just tearing things down without a game plan, without a real remedy as to how to move forward to make it better. And in fact, when George Floyd was murdered, one of the things that I thought was going to be the most difficult was we'd have, rallies and riots and, gatherings and conversations. And yet there would be another incident where we haven't moved the needle, at all in policing. And so I think we do need to move the needle. We do need to change things. I say reimagine rather than abolish, because I do think there is a need for a structure or some sort of form of public safety, simply because, I've been around enough to see enough people victimized by other people, not just cops, but other people, that I know that there is a need for something in place to keep society safe and moving and functioning in a fair and effective manner. And if what we have now isn't working, fine, let's look at other things. But let's have a plan in place. Let's have a real answer and a solution. Let's pilot something. Let's try this out, because the risks are too high if we don't get it right, and the risks are too high if we maintain the status quo. So I think that there's a real opportunity here to really get strong voices and then strong action behind those voices. And I think you would find that a lot of people in law enforcement, a lot of police officers would love to see a system where they could feel consistently proud of the work that they're doing and the effort that they're giving, and not have the bad incidents tear the whole thing down and show that there are real problems that need to be addressed.
There was a new incident brought to our attention by newly released video on Sunday, Donna, and I saw it and sent it around to my team that was reporting in the New York Times. It's an incident that happened in Virginia, in Windsor, Virginia. I wanted to just give some context for our viewers. The actual incident, the encounter with police and another black man, this one an Army lieutenant, happened December 5th. But there's a lawsuit that sort of precipitated the video being released. Windsor's town manager, that's the city where it happened, that's the police force involved, said in a statement that an internal investigation found that the officers who pulled over Lieutenant Karen Nazario, Joe Gutierrez, and Daniel Crocker did not follow departmental policy. We're back to policies and structural problems with policing. According to the police department, they've been disciplined and ordered to take additional training, but only after this happened. Let's watch.
Lightning, son.
Get out the car.
You received an order. Obey it.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you should be. Get out. Back up.
Whoa, hold on.
Daniel.
What's going? Hold on.
Get out of the car.
What's going on?
Get out of the car now.
What's going on?
What's going on is you're fixing to ride the lightning, son.
Get out the car.
You received an order. Obey it.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you should be. Get out. Back up.
Whoa, hold on.
Daniel.
What's going? Hold on. I don't.
AM4 OC just deployed.
Get out of the car and get on the ground now. You're gonna get it again.
I don't even want to reach for my seatbelt.
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
So for our viewers, just to know, this gets worse from here. And Carmen, if you could just put this into context, what in the ever-loving universe is any of that conduct in line with the way you treat anyone? Two hands out the window. Obviously someone that represents no threat to the police officers. Can you add some understanding?
Right. I really wish I could. It's absolutely ridiculous what was occurring there. A man in military uniform, clearly is explaining in very clear terms why he's nervous, and obviously so. And the officer said something to the effect of, well, you should be, and you're about to ride the lightning, son. I mean, anybody would be afraid with people pointing handguns at you, yelling those things. And when he asked, what the problem was, if it was his tags on his vehicle, just say, it's your tags on your vehicle. We'd like to talk to you about it. I mean, it's really such a minor nothing that it's just hard to believe that all of this transpired out of this incident. It's a completely reprehensible. And so the actions that were taken, I believe both officers' employment has been terminated, if I'm correct, but it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And this is why we have the problems that we have today, because these incidents occur. I of course, believe that the vast majority of incidents do not end up like this, but one is just too many. And it's very appalling. We've had 3 this week already.
Well, and Donna, I guess my point in bringing this into the conversation is that thank God Lieutenant Nazario didn't pay with his life. But the escalation on the part of police is the universal, distinguishing sort of trait in everything that we talk about. That's where these things seem to diverge between, dare I say, how I would maybe get treated and how a black man gets treated. And my question is, what can the federal government do? What can the Biden administration do now so that doesn't happen tomorrow and the next day? Because I hear what Jason's saying about starting over, but this is a problem now. We're playing whack-a-mole every single day.
Well, and Nicole, these are the ones that we see, and think about how many incidents may be happening all over the country that we don't see. This was precisely the opposite of the de-escalation that we've all been talking about over these last couple of years. There is now an investigation coming out of both the state police and the Attorney General's office in Virginia. But also, I think that the Department of Justice has to get really re-engaged again about looking at pattern and practice investigations of police departments across the country. And as we can see, Windsor, Virginia, a very small police department, Minneapolis, larger, Brooklyn Center, in between. It doesn't matter the size of the department. It apparently doesn't even matter the training because the training is violated so much. So, I mean, I point to Maryland, my home state, which over this last week passed very sweeping reforms in criminal justice and in policing. And it's the first state to really do so at that level. And we still have a lot of work to do to make sure that these incidents don't happen again. But to Jason's point, it's so widespread that it is inevitable until we get control over it.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.